this is a book written by Swami Tadatmananda, who is the guru of one of our members who sent it to me for us to read together. We've reached part 3 of this book so far, In Search of the Seeker. And it has some lovely Sanskrit. I'm always excited to see it, so we'll read it together. Kene shitam patati preshitam manaha kena pranaha pratamham praiti yuktaha shrotrasya shrotram manaso manahyan vachoha vacham sa pranasya pranaha. From the Kena Upanishad, 1st canto, 1st to 2nd verse, which translates roughly into an English: impelled by what does the mind think and seek? Impelled by what does life sustain the body? Is it the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the speech of speech, the life of life? This chapter is titled One Teacher's Journey. Wednesday, March 15th. On the following morning, our ashram set aside its usual tranquil, contemplative mood and buzzed with excitement. The ashram's founder, Swami Dayananda, was due to arrive at noon. His visits had become infrequent, just a few times each year, usually for special occasions. A rumor had circulated around the ashram hinting that he was coming to initiate 2 of his students into sannyasa. I paradoxically felt both delighted and apprehensive about his arrival and the events that would soon unfold. I also thought it ironic that the founder of this serene hermitage did not spend more time here. He occasionally remarked that he hoped to return here one day to recapture the simplicity of his years living in a thatched hut on this site. But nowadays, the demands on his time have grown manifold. His days were consumed by public programs throughout India and North America, occasional travel to Europe, South and North America, occasional travel to Europe, South America and Australia, and the responsibility for other ashrams in Pennsylvania and Coimbatore. Not sure how to pronounce that place name. Coimbatore. All this seems like quite a burden for a man now in his 60s. Yet, he continues to maintain a full schedule of teachings as he has for over 30 years. A blaring horn announced the eagerly awaited arrival of the car bringing Swami Dayananda from New Delhi. As the gate was opened to admit the shiny white ambassador, all ashram residents and guests assembled in the courtyard to greet him. Vedic hymns were chanted as he stepped out of the car. A garland of fragrant flowers was hung around his neck. He waited silently as everyone bowed before him, one at a time, each touching his feet in reverence. He spoke to Swami Sudhananda about some ashram matters. Chatting merrily, they walked together towards the temple with the rest of us close behind. After they entered the small temple near the Ganges bank, the temple priest chanted more Vedic hymns and worshipped the deity with burning camphor. Then they stepped outside and surveyed the familiar panorama. The winding course of the Ganges, the Himalayan foothills dotted with ashrams, and the expanse of blue sky encompassing it all. Swami Dayananda's face, graced with sensitive dark eyes, and a snowy white beard, looked as serene as the mountains. Strange, I thought, that after 60-some years, his face and forehead were still free from the usual lines of worry. He always seemed so relaxed and carefree, despite his hectic schedule and burden of responsibilities. Thank you, Dopamine Queen. His ochre robes fluttered in the breeze as he adjusted the upper cloth he wore over his head, following an old custom. He walked to the covered porch in front of his cottage and sprawled comfortably on a large cushion. The ashram residents and guests crowded around him. His friendly eyes scanned the group, stopping now and then on certain faces. He inquired about one resident's health and reported to a visiting couple that their son was doing well at Pennsylvania State University. His eyes sought out new visitors to welcome them. He showed a great degree of interest and concern for each of the residents, even though he saw them just a few times a year. At the moment, he seemed more like the patriarch of a large family than a revered guru. In 1930, Swami Dayananda was born in a tiny village in India's southernmost state, Tamil Nadu. He was called Natarajan then, and was raised by his pious mother, a widow after his father passed away when he was just 8. He grew up in a traditional village environment pervaded by Hindu culture and religious values. His family home stood next to a temple, and his childhood days were filled with religious observances. After his school days were over, he moved to Madras, where he worked as a clerk and later as a journalist. While learning Sanskrit in high school, he studied the Bhagavad Gita for some time. I've heard that book before. But his spiritual education really began when, as a young man in his 20s, he met the prominent Hindu missionary, Swami Chinmayananda. Up until that time, the teachings of the Upanishads were generally taught only to brahmacharis and sannyasis. The lay public was excluded. It was Swami Chinmayananda's personal mandate to bring these Vedantic teachings to cities and towns throughout India and the world. Natarajan was captivated by Swami Chinmayananda's brilliant oration and became deeply inspired listening to the wisdom of the sages. He began to study Vedanta and Sanskrit with great diligence and soon gave up his job to join the Chinmaya mission as its secretary, and later as the publisher of its bi-monthly journal. In 1962, Swami Chinmayananda initiated Natarajan into sannyas, giving him the name Dayananda, which means one whose fullness, Ananda, is manifested as compassion, Daya. After his initiation, Swami Dayananda taught extensively. He conducted 2 3-year courses in Vedanta and Sanskrit at Sandhanalaya, Swami Chinmayananda's ashram in the suburbs of Bombay. He gave public discourses throughout India, and starting in 1976, in the US and other countries, he later established a branch ashram near Garberville in Northern California, where he taught another 3-year course. Hello, Priscilla. In 1981, he left the Chinmaya mission to teach independently in India, the United States, and around the world. In 1986, he founded Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, the ashram in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains, where I had studied during the next 3-year course he conducted. In 1990, he established a second Arsha Vidya Gurukulam in the remote hills near Coimbatore in South India, where he later conducted 2 more 3-year courses. Unnumbered thousands of people on several continents have been blessed to hear the Vedantic vision of the ancient rishis brilliantly unfolded by this masterful teacher. Of the hundreds of disciples who attended his 6 3-year courses, many have been initiated into sannyas and have joined the new generation of teachers. Swami Dayananda is perhaps the foremost teacher of Vedanta living today. Well, he actually passed away in 2015. I assume this book was written before then. And has been praised with lofty accolades such as Teacher of Teachers and Shankara of our times. So what a lovely introduction into Swami Tadatmananda's guru, Swami Dayananda, whom, in the coming days, as we explore this book, is soon to be initiated under as a Swami himself. What a journey from an American computer scientist to a spiritual renunciant. And thank you all for listening with me. And thank you.